Came too far to turn back. The return of the lyricist. Get it together.
You're listening to You Good with Mike Brown, a mental health podcast. I might have a guest, I might not have a guest, but we're going to talk about mental health, and I hope that it's good. Follow me on things at Yo Mike Brown. Peace. Because I put in the description, I was like, yo, the episode is Also, I want to apologize for there not being an intro. I forgot about the intro. Chris probably forgot about the intro, but I promised I'm gonna do some intros. And I was like, the whole time I was like, man, I gotta tell Chris, man, you gotta get this intro game right. You gotta get it right. And I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? Like, who gives a shit? But I just like. So explain yourself, Chris, on the podcast.
It could be, you know what happened? We recorded
straight honesty. Straight honesty.
No, we recorded the intros. We did that set of intros for we did it.
We like right. 5 people. I put that on the thing that we record so many every time and that we do it after.
But we recorded those intros.
Oh man!
Right, like the week before we had these particular 2 guests that need intros for the episodes. So it dawned on me as I was editing. I'm like, oh shit!
But it was so funny. When Chris sent it over, all right, with the music on it. So usually I just hear the music and I'm like, all right, and then I go. But just because like these episodes were done so far between, I was like, yo, what the fuck did we talk about? I gotta listen to the intro because it's like a message to myself when I do the intro to
That's
be like,
memo. Yeah,
it's like the memo. And then I'm like, I was like, oh, this is cool. I just went into it. I was like, oh, I kind of like this a little bit.
It kind of flowed. It kind of flowed.
So it's like
those 2 particular episodes were just for you to listen to. Royce, I'm spoiling shit.
Oh no, go ahead. But we don't even know when this one comes out.
Honestly, we did. I don't even know.
Yeah, it's like just levity, man.
But I was like, I trust that you're gonna listen to Royce and be like, you know what? That's it, because it's the only one with the intro.
Yeah.
But I threw everything in the folder. I'm like, yo, whatever sticks.
A part of me feels like I should just put this one out. Like this one should be the next week's one. So like because the Royce one has the intro, right?
Yep.
So it's behind the scenes. So the next week we'll hit him with the Royce one.
All right, bet.
And then I think all the other ones are no intros.
Yeah. The next 2, which is spoiler alert, Asante and I forgot her name, but I remember her event name.
Oh, Janice, yeah.
Yes.
Oh no, Janice's is up today. Hers is up today.
Right,
so they'll be like, what's this?
All right.
Then this next episode that they're hearing us talk about this right now, they're gonna be like, oh, that was last week.
By the way, this is some Inception shit. Like, this is like we're doing some time traveling right now.
Dude, I'm trying to be as like. Not brutally honest, but just like more like transparent about certain shit. Yeah. Because when shit changes, I'm gonna be transparent about that shit too, and I don't want people to be. You know what I mean? Like,
honestly, after today, especially after the fucking episodes I've had earlier, just background shit. But honestly, transparency.
Podcast, I forget. So.
Yeah. People are gonna hear this.
No. We got to keep. But you just need a day. You just need a.
I mean,
open spot.
At the end of the day, transparency is always welcome.
Yeah,
that's all I ever wanted.
Yeah, but. That's the thing where like I'm trying to do that more like so last night shout out to Justy Dodge, right? So Justy Dodge, comedian in New York City, funny as shit. I think one of I feel like the true comedians in comics, because it's like I feel in comedy and I do feel like this is like this is super inside baseball shit, right? Yeah. For me it's like I knew that I couldn't do anything else but this. Mm-hmm. I couldn't do anything else but like just tell my truth, tell some jokes, and just do that. I tried to do everything and I could, but this is what I meant to do, right? So Justy, somebody is like, oh, I meant to meet you through comedy, and you're supposed to be doing this shit. You were funny as fuck. Like we just talk and just has me cracking up, right? So she was like, yo, Mike, you got to come out. Rojo's hosting the show. Come out. I'm just like, which is cool. But I'm also like, I was in like, kind of like just home mode chilling. You know what I mean? I did some work. I was writing a little bit. I was just like, my girl coming home.
You're set.
Yeah, I'm set. And then she was just like, real, like, yo, stop playing around. She was like, I'll see you at 7. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, excuse me?
Well, that's how she got hit me. Like, she's like, lack of better word, like, she's my comedy wife. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, when I have like ideas or some other shit, or like we get down on some shit. But that brings me to the story, because like, I went to the show, I didn't want to get up. right? Like I wanted to get up, but I didn't go there to get up. Like I really went there to hang.
Yeah.
And it was a weird thing because like as a comedian, you should always want the stage time, right? You always want the stage time. And I do, but I kind of want to be wanted to be on the stage. And I talked about that, like trying to overcome that, you know?
Yeah.
And so when so the booker's like, yo, Mike, Mike, it's cool, I'm gonna put you up. And I'm like, yeah. And I just said like instinctually, right? Because I'm like, I'm never gonna say no, right? So I'm like, yeah. But then I'm like, fuck, had like a super anxiety moment. Because I was like, fuck, I haven't been like out. I haven't done a show. I haven't been thrown up in a while. Usually, like when I go to do shows, it's like I'm up to be on a show or like I'm hanging out and it's like all my comedy friend shows. So it's like, oh, there's probably a high possibility that I'm gonna go up. But I'm like, this is an 8-year anniversary bar show in New York, and I remember the last time I've been at this show was when I was like booked on the show, and it's like a thing. It feels like a thing, but you know, it's just comedy, right? So I go out and Justy sees me bugging out, right? And I'm not bugging out like she just sees me bugging out. To Justy means she sees me writing in my book before I go on stage. Yeah. Because she knows damn well, Mike, just get on the fucking stage. You know what I mean? Yeah. So she said, because I was like, yo, why you put me? She was like, I see you over there fucking writing. What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? And then we just like had a real talk about it like we always do. And she just like kind of put me back in that frame of mind because she's one of the people who I met when I started. You know what I mean? So it's different when you kind of and for her too, like everybody just kind of like getting their feet wet with comedy, and so you're looking at me as like an equal. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, you're a comic that made it, or you're an open micer, or whatever. It's just like, hey, we're the same. We want to be, we're comedians, right? And then that's like the first, you're like, are we comedians? And then you kind of go through and like, yeah, oh shit, it's right? Yeah. So I went, did the show, and had a great fucking set, and it was one of those things like I haven't like for real performed in front of Rojo in a minute. You know what I mean? Like I've seen him perform a bunch of times, but also he's like a road dog. So like he's always on stage. Like say just like he could sneeze and get stage time if he wants to. You know what I mean? Like because and also shout him out again. Check him out. The HBO thing is aired. Entre Nos. It is on HBO Latino. It is in English. Okay, it is in English. People, so watch it. It's real fun. Shout out to Ro. But it's like doing that set in front of him, and I kept telling him about things I'm like working on, like joke wise, like, oh, I got this thing about this, and it's hard to explain a lot of my jokes because I write weird. You know what I mean? Like I tell jokes like Jay-Z raps.
Okay, so one take.
Kind of. I don't know. It's like it's a weird thing. Like I do write sometimes. But like my creative process is so like I get it now. You know what I mean? And so it's like weird to being in a certain vibe because like so last night I was doing these new bits and after a while, Rojo, he gave me my props as he should have. He's supposed to. Murdered that thing, hurt that place. Anyway, so like he should, he should, motherfucker. Anyway, but he was like, yo, I like how you were talking about because I have this whole thing on consent and sexual harassment and like how I get into it and talk about these things. And he's like, yo, I really like this and that transition to this. That shit was fucking like that's the way to do it. That's it right there. What I write, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like living in the bliss of getting a compliment from like my peer. You know what I mean? Like it's like people are like, yo, I see you, and they're like, yo, that shit right there. Like when you get one of those, it's like, because it's a validation of like, motherfucker, I understand you, and the way you broke it down, I understood, and I wish I could have thought of that, but I wasn't even there. You know what I mean? Like
artist to artist.
Yeah, right. And I also was in my mind, I was like, shit, I'm glad I taped it. I don't remember what the fuck I said. I was just like I was just giving some bars. There was a part of it that was just bars. Some of it was like written down, but others it was just bars.
You tape all your sets?
Huh?
You tape all your sets?
I tape a lot of them, bro. Like even me doing this podcast right now. Fuck the bullshit. Me doing the podcast right now.
It's a record. There's some sets. There's some bits on here.
These are bits on it. This is not even just bits, nigga. These are like. I'm the hardest working comedian. all these episodes are albums.
Yeah. Honestly,
each one of them is an hour. They're like, These are bars.
Listening back, I'm like, yo, all right. I see it. I see a bit.
It's what, but I just like talking mental health shit. Like it's like what this is like all of my and I think this is where the podcast comes in too. Because like in my comedy, I'm like, yo, how am I gonna talk about this shit? You know what I mean? Like, how can I do it the way I want to do? And I have some jokes about it, but I'm like, but I also want that. Like, this is me joking about it, but this is me also talking about like. So I'm really. It's like I'm interested in the conversation among it because like the more I talk about it, the more I personally feel like, man, I'm not alone with some of this shit. Yeah. But also it's like I know where my layer is, where it's like I feel like I have the anxiety, I have the depression. Sometimes I think I exist in multiple worlds. Now this is gonna sound crazy, but if you heard I was listening to the new Big Crit album, right? Yep. And I think I might have talked about it here. Before Forever is a Mighty Long Time, but to have Big Crit disc 1 and a Justin Scott disc 2, he's basically saying like, hey, as an artist, I'm giving you both of these things. This is like the artist that the people who might not know me as whatever, they want to hear this from this artist, and here that music is cool too. I can do that. I love being Big Crit, but he's also like, as Justin Scott though, I also have things I need to say, and I'm doing it as this way. And how can these both exist at the same place at the same time simultaneously? Well, that's just what it is. It's forever. It is what it is. Forever is a mighty long time. You know what I mean? And boom, you got the you got the title and all that, right? And also shout out to him. That was a bar. I didn't even know that was a bar when I said it.
It happened.
Right?
It happened that way.
You see? I get there.
It was almost a little bit of plagiarism. I'm like, okay, now don't.
I threw it back to him. Because I led with the Forever's a Mighty Long Time.
Callbacks.
You see, it's the bars. I mean, what are we doing?
Infinite bars.
Infinite bars. That's why that solo episode was so hard because the rhythm was right.
Yeah, I mean,
man, see me at a show, man. I'm on problem.
Listen, man, I'm ready. I'm ready. What are you doing Thursday night?
Oh man, nothing. Unbooked, unbusy.
Keep it that way.
I'm gonna start working on my recipes. It's the only way I can stay funny, man. It's like, man, like this is the most narcissistic shit, man. I'm about to say, I'm so fucking narcissistic, and it's like. I'm not even like I'm funny, but like I'm not that funny. But I feel like I'm a monster.
you first and foremost, you got to be the one.
I gotta be, but I know like, cause I look at this is the thing. I'm like, I could talk about anything. Yeah. But when I get on stage, I'm like, no, there's certain shit that I want to talk about, and the way that I can talk about and try to deconstruct a thing, I have to do that shit on stage. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I could talk about me. But I also want to talk about some of the feelings that I have on the world that I know might be fucking insane. But I'm just like, can y'all just meet me halfway so I don't feel like a really crazy person? And if not, can you just let me know what's wrong? Like somebody please explain it to me. Yeah. Like I don't want no trouble. I'm just trying to understand. I'm just like understand. It's a matter of fact, speaking to Justy, today before the podcast, she told me something. And then I was like, yeah, you know what? No, this is the thing. Okay, super inside baseball, right? So, like I said, I don't have a full list of all the jokes that I've ever written. Yeah, I don't have a list. I have some books with some stuff, but I don't have like a whole like, all right, boom, I don't got that, right? Yeah. And Justy was like, oh, she was like, oh, just do one, like, you know, whatever. And I'm like, well, I feel I didn't do one because, and she's like, what are you just do one. What, like, what, everybody, like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. And then I'm like, and she was like, yeah, I wasn't, like, asking you a question of why don't you have one. I'm like, yo, you just do one. Just do it. Yeah. And I'm, like, responding back to her, and it's like, I was like, oh, I literally was mansplaining. Yeah. I literally did it. I was doing it. I was in the middle of the mansplanation, and she's like, what are you talking? Just do the thing. And I'm like, yeah. Like, what? There was nothing to explain at that time, but I was like, Justy, that's why I fuck with you, because if I was talking to, let's say I'm talking to another woman who we don't have that relationship, and she just okay, see you later, and then she goes tells a friend or some shit like, this motherfucker's a mansplainer. I don't know I'm a man, but let me know at the time when it's happening, so I can be like, I'm aware of my shit.
That'd be very helpful.
But I'm also very dumb, so I'm probably gonna do it again. I don't want to, but but it's just like, yo, stop, like, just Be like, yo, you're doing it. I'm like, oh, my bad. Just let them. Let somebody know when they need to chill. Just like, yo, chill. Like
That would be very helpful.
yeah,
half
I
the
tell
time.
people, I tell people relax, and it's not good because that's not a good word. I mean,
You can't force nobody to relax.
Yeah.
I mean, you can. It's it happens to be
Yeah.
inside of this pen that I have in my pocket. But other than
Yeah.
that, you can't. That's how you relax.
put a pen on.
I got the pen.
You got the pen on you.
I got the pen.
Oh, the pen. Okay,
I got
okay.
the pen. Ain't no ink in this pen.
Okay, see, I thought you meant like you had like a pin that said
no.
relax on it.
I mean, that's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea, but if that's what you needed to look down,
Alter
be
the
like,
spelling a little bit.
like, yeah, a little, get my new clothing line. We got it out here. RLX, relax. You know what I mean? It's not Ralph Lauren Extreme. You know what I mean? That's RLX, relax, man. Support black businesses. You know what I mean?
Ralph Lauren Extreme.
I'm telling you, bars, yo.
that might could work.
It works. I have really great dumb ideas. Like I feel like one day the Ralph Lauren people are like, RLX. If that's not a real thing, we might have to do that. That
This sounds like
great.
a marketing meeting right now.
Oh, marketing meeting. Everyone get together. This young Negro said RLX is Ralph Lauren Extreme. I think it could work.
We're
Well, shit, I'm
married.
coming for the coins, baby.
Get your coin.
Yeah. Then it's like, I'm sorry, but you have nothing to do with the Ralph Lauren brand. Okay, fine. Take all the coins yourself, but guess what? I have proof.
Got proof.
I'm a marketing genius.
And it's on this damn audio.
Ugh, yeah, it's stupid. Sometimes I get worried about doing a podcast because it's just like I'm just giving so many bars away for free.
I mean, that's the point.
I know, right?
That's the point, man.
It's the point. It's a weird thing. Like as an artist, it's like you not only just want to make a living, like you want to contribute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but it's also you ever watch what is it? Last Week Tonight.
Never heard.
Never heard of
Never
Last
heard.
Week Tonight
Never heard.
with John Oliver.
Nah. Well, all right. Now that you say the name, I may have heard a few
But I haven't
things,
watched.
but I haven't.
Okay, here we go. Another step because audience split up. You guys watch? We might just talk about this. Wyatt Cenac's Problem Areas.
Another thing I haven't heard of.
Okay, Wyatt Cenac's Problem Areas is low key, and I'm not saying this because my boy works there.
Okay.
Low key, one of the best shows on that I watch. Meaning like the show. Okay, so the show is like. Okay, you know how like Daily Show is a news show,
Yeah.
but it's very comedy heavy.
Yeah. It's allegedly a new show. Yeah.
Yeah, it's alleged. I mean,
Yeah.
it's. I mean, but okay, let's go history wise.
Yeah.
I guess it was like Craig Kilborn or whoever was the first host, and then or somebody. And I'm not. And this is no disrespect to the
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, with all due respect.
But like, yeah. So he had the job and he left, and then Jon Stewart came in, right?
Yes.
When Jon Stewart came in, he came with I feel like a very New York centric
Yeah.
voice, where he just talked about the fucking news. But did it in his way where he was just tearing shit up, like what the fuck
Beautiful.
is up with it, and anybody could get it, right?
Yep.
I think that the people got so attached to that, great. But then when he left, things kind of changed, and it's not like and this is not even like a Trevor Noah like shot or anything, but his vibe is different than John's vibe, right?
Yes.
But but when like. I think when Trevor took over and, you know, writing staffs and all those things, like the comedy is a little different. So I think it's more like, it feels more like, not happier jokes, but it's like the news is so fucking crazy right now that the comedians got to go so far
Yo.
to get the joke. They got to go so fucking far to get it. Like, yo, I need you to forget about who's in office. I got you to forget about all the shit. This is how far. We're going to relate it back to Star Wars or some shit, right? Whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or like some reference.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, remember this happy time?
Or whatever it takes.
Yeah, whatever it takes. Whereas John Oliver's show does kind of the same thing. However, because they report on the news that already happened last week, they have a week to prepare. They have a week to prepare one show.
Yeah.
So if let's say something big happens today,
Yep.
their show on Sunday, they're talking about today's thing.
Yeah.
But they have all, you know, they're researching, and so they got not better jokes, but like the way they're set up with no commercials, they talk about one thing, and then they have like a interstitial about something, like a random commercial, random news related thing, and then they have another like heavy desk piece. You know what I mean? Which is funny, where they're like, oh, this time we're gonna yesterday they were talking about, or the one from this week. May 5th. So you guys, I timestamped the date so you know how things happen, right? But they talked about lethal injections, right? So the whole last part of it is just lethal injections, and they're like, why it's not it. People feel that it's humane, but actually, okay. I'll just say this bar, which got me hooked, right? They're like lethal injections. The Hippocratic Oath, right, says that doctors, nurses, whatever, must first do no harm, right?
Yes.
So no one with any medical training is giving the lethal injections. It's just people.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, so you're getting an injection from someone with no, like they get trained, but they're not like medically, they haven't gone through the 4 years. Just like somebody, filled out an application online, needed some money, and it's just the dude doing lethal injections.
Some sick fuck is like, hey, I want to kill somebody and pay for it.
Or not even sick fuck. Like, what if you're just down on your luck and the only people hiring, like, you know what I mean? And then if you that dude, like, man, I need to get like, that's like working stock somewhere. Like, I don't want to move these boxes. I'm not like, I want to be the stock guy. But if you need a job, they hire and you go get the job. But that person is gonna be administering the shit. You're gonna kill somebody. Like, he don't even care. He's more worried about like, why y'all taking so much on my taxes?
Yeah, honestly,
he's like, on my bill. Like, why is so much coming? But anyway. So they talk about that, and then they talk about how some of the drugs that they used to use are now outlawed, so they have to get new drugs and all that. And it's just like such a mind fuck. And that's just the first part. The other part of it was like how this dude in Congress was like. He got Kentucky Fried Chicken and ate it on Congress to kind of show that this other person who didn't show up was being chicken, and they just talked about the absurdity of that. Like, who does this shit?
Absurd.
Yeah, but that's how the show is like, and there's like a thing in the middle I forgot. But for like, so it's something I watch every week because I like the way they dissect and really get deep into certain issues. Because like, niggas ain't talking about lethal injection, but it's like, that's something I never thought about.
Yeah.
And even as I'm telling you right now, you might be like, I might have to go back and watch that shit. Like,
is this network or is this?
No, it's HBO. It's not TV.
All right, I'm gonna keep an eye out. I might have to get up on
marketing.
HBO. I might have to get back on HBO.
Yeah. Well, HBO has some like. This is the thing. I think HBO is a great network and has great programming.
Yeah.
But I also feel like they really don't know how to connect, and I think a lot of people right now don't know really what to do. Like,
when's
how
the
to
last
connect.
time HBO had like
Other than Game of Thrones?
Oh yeah. Honestly,
Exactly. It's bigger than HBO.
Yeah. Honestly, at this point,
That's how hard HBO is. HBO Insecure,
yeah.
Game of Thrones, Crashing.
I gotta get on.
Yeah,
Crashing.
I mean, you take your time there to cancel it. So take your time. It's gonna be there. You don't gotta rush.
I move slow, so this is perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect.
This is perfect.
Yeah, you got your whole lifetime to watch all the Crashing, man.
Yo, like honestly,
Yeah.
Game of Thrones is like the last. I don't even fucking like Game of Thrones, but Game of Thrones is like the last event for television.
It's
like,
the last television. Yeah, it's maybe. I think right now it's like the biggest one, like on that kind of scale, until something else happens. If Saturday Night Live, and no shots at anybody over there, but like if that, and how I'm gonna I gotta start figuring out how to talk about things without feeling like they're gonna take offense to it, because I already have like feelings about things, so I know when I talk about it, it might sound like it's coming off negative.
Oh, no, let me be the first to help you. Oh, everybody is offended by everything.
Okay.
That makes absolutely no sense, but it makes all of the sense at the same time.
Yeah, I'll put it like this. SNL is having this. I think people find SNL funny, but I think that they haven't. It's been a while since they have like a university, like with the pumpkin, Mr. Pumpkins or whatever, the Halloween sketch.
Yeah.
That I think went super viral because it was just humor. It was like the beat is this guy just scares, but like it's just humor. Anybody can relate. And then some of the other things are so inside baseball for certain type of people, and it's just like that's not hitting me.
Yeah.
I think that's it. But anyway, that's me. Nobody cares about what I think. Hi, I'm Mike Brown. I'm stupid. So
that's part of why I don't even watch SNL half the time. Like
I watch SNL. The last time I watched SNL as like, I'm so excited for this episode was when Dave was hosting it. And but usually like once a week I probably just sit down and just like watch all the sketches. Just like as a comedy, right? Like somebody who's like professional, like I gotta watch it. And they'd be like, oh, that's funny. But It's like the comedian in me is like, oh, that's funny, but the person in me is like, but it's also things like, oh, that bar is hard, but I didn't like the performance of it. But like I'll be all over the place with my shit.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Chris Redman. He's doing great work over there.
Yes.
This motherfucker is crushing over there.
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking, man, I sure do miss Mad TV. Let me stop. No shots to SNL. No shots.
No. It's all. But also it's like, you know, I'm not a person who grew up like playing sports necessarily.
Yeah.
So necessarily, but it's like, so I feel like my competitive nature is in comedy. Isn't like trying to be the funniest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is perfect.
Which it's no, it's a mess. It's a
man.
mess.
This is Jay-Z and Beanie Siegel on one track, going bar for bar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Friendly competition.
Yeah. Well, that's all it is. It's all friendly. But I would like to say, let's say Drake and Jay-Z going at each other, just because I just like that pairing a little bit.
I kind of do like that little dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, I say because when I see Beanie. Right,
yeah.
and I love. I would love to talk to Beanie Man.
I mean,
also Beanie Man, but like I would love to talk to Beanie Siegel. I would love to talk to Beanie. See, I was like a bar. Anyway,
shit.
I would love to talk to Beanie Siegel because dude was like from the outside looking in. You're like, man, you with The Rock, you got all this, and like, I know for him, I feel like when he was like he spit the truth. Like I really think he went in there with just rapping.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he wasn't. Like he was an artist, but he was also so real and natural at it that people didn't really see it. And then when they saw it, and he still did like live the life he was living, and Jay is like, "No, man, you gotta, you can do that, but now when you live, it has to kind of be like this." Well, I want to, but you know, and he just didn't catch it. And it's a thing when I hear that, I'm like, yeah, he goes bar for bar with people, but it's also that thing of like that. Now that quote unquote train has left, right?
Yep.
And he understands what he's missing or what he missed. It's like, do you I respect Beanie's artistry, but I haven't listened to his albums in a while. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that are like if and it's fucked up for me as I'm conditioned to music. Like if Beanie had a joint and I heard that on TV or if I heard that in cars, I'm like, what's that? Oh, it's Beanie's what? Yeah. And then I go listen to it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. But anyway, to go back to what I was saying about HBO. So, problem areas. Wyatt Cenac's problem areas.
Yeah.
It is fucking fantastic, okay? The second season is up right now. I mean, the second season is currently airing. I just finished binging the first season. Yeah. I saw the first episode, and it was like kind of hard. It's not like it's funny, but it's like, man, they talking about some shit on this show. Like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. The entire... The thing about problem areas is this. They kind of look at things that feel unfixable and try to provide some type of solution or try to break it down. And they take one area over the entire season, okay? So the first season is about law enforcement.
Uh-oh.
So... every end of the episode, meaning for like the last 15 minutes, it's about police.
Yeah.
So each episode breaks down different aspects of law enforcement. So there was one episode that was just about sexual assault, people who were victims of sexual assault. There was one episode that's about the race relations. There's an episode about education for police officers and how to be more part of the community. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there's all these different episodes, and they have people that they interview. They go down and they also talk about the history of police. Like it's really good. You know what I mean? Because it's like it feels like a dope like how people watch like Netflix murder documentaries kind of.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, okay, remember when Wyatt was on the Daily Show? And they would remember the Daily Show, like just Daily Show, right? Just Daily Show. And when they do field pieces,
yes.
Imagine them doing field pieces, but we're fucking for real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's a comedian doing field pieces. So he's not there to be funny and get jokes. If there's a joke to be made, he makes the joke, but he's there for the truth, for the information. Yeah. So you're watching it and getting this, like you're learning so much, and every time you're like, oh, that's fucking funny. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like it's a way of saying, yo, this is what's going on. Yeah, there's still humor in life, but this is what's going on. We got to again, it's funny, but like, yo, let's kind of do something about this, or get the message that we should be doing something about this. Yeah. And it's one of the shows I watch, and like artist to artist, I've met Wyatt on the street.
Oh.
Did I tell you about this shit? Okay.
Nah, I don't think you did.
Okay. So, bro, it's like, I've told this story on podcasts before. So years ago, when I first started comedy, my first year, I'm getting off at Atlantic Avenue. I'm walking down the street, and I look to my right, and I see Wyatt. Like, I know it's Wyatt Cenac, right? And it's like, I'm not like a big fan of The Daily Show, but I know who he is. I know that he's a comic, but more importantly to me, I'm like, man, that's the brother from The Daily Show.
Yeah.
And to me, as an aspiring comic, it just meant so much to see your brother on Comedy Central. And you know what I mean? Like, it's, and I know, like, even as I say this, I feel a little bit weird even talking about it, like the thing of representation, because you're like, oh, there was always white people. Like, nah, man, there wasn't one who was like that. Like, every time he went on, like, I don't remember the exact correspondence, but when he went on, I watched him and I was like, oh man, it's funny. And I was like, and he's fucking holding his own with John. And I was like, John is such a great comedian. I'm like, man, why? Like, I just knew. But I also, as I guess, as a person, saw him as a person too. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, it was just like, oh, this is a person that I don't know, but I know of him. Yeah. So I look over, I'm just like, what?
Oh shit.
And he's like, and he looks at me like, yeah? And I'm like, hey, what's up, man? My name is Mike Brown. Like, I'm a comedian. I just saw you, and I was just like, whatever. Yeah. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. I was like, man, I'm just starting. Is there anything you could tell me? And he was like, well, there's a hot tub show, and this, you know, with Kirsten, whatever, and Kurt, and before they moved to LA and become big, like, you know, she started voicing Homegirl on Bob's Burgers. Like, she's out of here. Show, you know what I mean? Like, out of here. But it's like, she's like, oh yeah, this show. And I'm like, okay, cool. And it was just like, it was like one of those things where I was like, oh, can you mind if I hit you up sometime? He was like, yeah, sure. And then I emailed him or texted him, and then he closed out my first Comedy Outliers show that we ever had. He was our big headliner, our dropping guest. He just did off the strength, right?
Wow.
And it was just like, man, and I didn't really have like a friendly relationship with him, because I just saw him as like another brother, but just an artist. I'm just like, thanks for, you know, giving your light, right?
Yeah.
But now, after like, and I've like been around him, and I've seen him like, hey, what's up? And it's cool, but it's still like, it's always like that to me, like, man, you're fucking Wyatt, man. You know what I mean? I can't even talk to you, man. You know what I mean? But then watching the show and seeing what he's doing, it's like, I think I realize, and even seeing him live, but it's like I finally see him now. Mm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I always saw him as I saw him. You know what I mean? Like, that we were kind of like different or not equal. Like, he was on a level above or whatever. Like, I always felt like. And then when I watched the show, I'm like, man, that's a good dude right there. You know what I mean? Like, it's, and I don't even know how to explain. Not saying like people bad dudes, whatever.
See him as a person.
Yeah, I see him as a person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's just very weird for me. And I think that's where this all circles back to mental health stuff. Because, like, you know, I understand why certain comedians have names that aren't their names.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, people have called me Mike Brown my entire life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's not like Mike Brown isn't a stage name, but it is a stage name, but it's also the name that my friends and family call me.
Yes.
You know, well, my family called me Mike Brown, but you get it. You know what I mean? But like all the home, like Mike Brown, and it's like you have this thing it's you, but then it feels weird. Like you know, when I talked about like seeing people on the street, it's dope because it's like the love is there, as if there's somebody like, oh, Mike Brown, and it's like, yeah, I love that because it's like I can just be me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel guilty about that. Don't know why, but
interesting.
Yeah, it's just like, but sometimes it's like also like you want to be approachable, but also there might be times like I might not want to be approached. It might be in the vibe, and it's like like, if a friend of mine saw me in the street and saw me in the vibe, they'd be like, "Yo, Mike Brown, you good?" Like, hey, what's up? You know. But also, if it's like, if I don't know the person, it's like, "Hey, Mike Brown," I'm like, "Hey, I'm good." You know what I mean? Like,
it's a little weird, yeah.
it's like, what if I think about this? What would I have done if someone came up to me the way I came up to Wyatt?
Mm-hmm.
And how would I react?
Yeah.
And I think I would end up reacting the same way. Of not really knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
Being at that thing of like shock of like, what the fuck is happening? Is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? But this next thing is going to be whatever it is. You know, because like he has his day. He's not even thinking about bumping into a young comic who's going to call him out, you know, to call him, talk to him and get it. He's not even thinking that.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
I'm walking to a show. I'm not thinking about Wyatt. But when I see he crossed the path, and right at that moment also crossed my mind, I had to say something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to me, it's like watching the show and how brilliant that art is too. It's like, oh, now I feel like I get you.
Yeah.
But I also kind of in my mind, I'm like, would he get me? You know what I mean? Because like he hasn't seen my work. You know, he's not familiar with my like I did his show when he was hosting it, Night Train. You know, he brought me up like I have a great tape from it. But even as I look back at that tape, I'm like, man, that tape really isn't who I am on stage anymore. That's like a good set, but that's not how I can see how nervous I was. I knew I was going to do, but I saw how nervous. I knew I was doing this tape for a reason. Like I could fucking see it.
Yeah.
I can look and see it, like, I fucking hate that tape. It's a great tape. I'm like, I fucking hate it. Because I know how much better I am on stage now and how much, like I know my growth. I feel it coming out of my, like I feel that shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if that's what he's judging me by, I don't know if he's like, man, that guy's on his way, or man, this piece of shit.
He's got some work to do?
Yeah, like, this is what you're doing out here? Man, I wish I never gave my email address. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it's that, it's that, like, weird thing where it's like, man, the only way that's going to happen, where I guess he might see me as is just like, however it's going to happen, if it happens. And I have to let go of that. But also the Mike Brown, y'all know me, I want to go up to him and be like, yo, I see you, man. Like, like, bro, I see you. I shit is hard. Like, and just be out like, yo. Okay, so my barber, right? One of the barbers in my neighborhood, right? I had I went to him, but I'm still kind of like looking for a new barber. I used to go to my man in Harlem, so I'm still looking for a new barber, and I hadn't gone back to him in a while, but we followed each other on Instagram. Yeah. And while he was cut my hair, he said he was a rapper. I was like, all right, but I follow him, and then I bump into him, and he was like, "Yo, I haven't seen you in a while, man." And I was like, "Yeah," but I'm like, man, call. I told him, I was like, "Yo, I'm going back and forth. You know, I'm just trying to forget." He was like, "It's all good." But then I remember, like, I listened to his music on Instagram when I got home, and I listened to it, and he makes some dope music. You know what I mean? He makes dope music, and so make sure I get this thing out too, because so y'all could listen. Y'all could listen along too. I'm not trying to. But I was like, oh, like, but the thing was like, oh, when someone tells you they rap and they make music, it's like, oh, okay, cool. You know, and like, oh, I'll follow you. I throw you a follow. Yeah. But then I also was in my mind when I was talking, I was like, yo, as an artist, I should really just give it a fucking listen. Yeah. And I was like, oh, shit's pretty good. It's really good. Like, oh, this is, keep doing that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you are not wasting your time. Right, you know what I mean? Like, you do have. It's like, yo, you do have talent. You like, I can see this happening. Will it happen? I don't fucking see the future, but I see.
Parallels. These are parallels. I see.
Yeah, like I see you out here. So yeah. So anyway, that's my whole thing. Also, I put up this post about this thing called let me make sure I get the thing of it right. I know I'm jumping all over the place. I'll probably put his Instagram or whatever in the comments. So it's called passive suicidal ideation.
Holy shit.
Okay? Passive suicidal ideation. Sorry if I messed that up. It's not being suicidal actively, but wanting it to happen. Basically, it's that feeling of like, man, I want to die, but I'm not going to kill myself. But I hope that I die. You know what I mean? It's like a weird, like you'd hope that your life ends with it, right? And I wrote about on Instagram this picture of like me, like it's just like a headshot in black and white, just like Mad Moody. I'm sorry, but I wrote about it because it was something like I just was like hip to, and I was like, yo, what the like? This feels very similar to what I felt a lot. You know what I mean? Sometimes through life, sometimes I would be suicidal, but now, after Mike was murdered, it's like I can't do that. You know, so sometimes when I get like real down, I might have the passive suicidal ideation. I'll call it PSI, whatever. Like I'll have that, and I'll be like, ugh. But also, I'll look at why all the reasons I shouldn't think that. You know what I mean? Like all the things, like but I want to see how these things go. You know what I mean? Like I might have kids. You know what I mean? Like whatever. So you just kind of going at that thing. But I put it up there, and like I just stepped away from Instagram because I don't like Instagram that much.
Yes.
And it was like a lot of people like hit me up like, oh shit, I felt this. I didn't know that. And I was like, yo, I just found out about it like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
I did a bit of Googling, did a little bit of reading on it. I was like, huh. So I just wanted to share what I found out in the world. And then people were like, yo, I feel this shit. And I'm like, yeah, don't say that I might have put you onto it, but I like, hey, thanks, whatever. We have our conversation and that's it. Because I also feel like I don't want to be the guy who just be up, like, I'm not trying to have, like, I'm not a mental health guru at all. You know, like how there's some people who
claim that shit?
Yeah.
They legit sit on top of that mental health stamp and like, I got this shit. This is my shit. I know this shit.
I just want you to know I'm not a guru. I don't know nothing. I'm a dummy. Okay? Meaning there's no like, sometimes I feel like I know everything, and then if I do feel like that, I know that I know nothing. Because there's so many things in this world, in this universe. I just learned about fucking what was it? What was it? Is it cows? No, cows. All cows are women?
That makes a ton of sense.
All cows are women.
That makes a ton of sense.
And the male cow is a bull.
Yes.
I didn't know that shit.
Yeah.
And I know someone who just like, well, I know everything. Last week I did. If you would have asked me, I'd have been like, yeah. What about the boy cows? That's how I found out, because I was talking with people. We were talking about cows for some reason. That's what happens when you just want a bunch of comments. So we just talking about cows, and he was like, yo, I was like, yeah, but what about the boy cows? They're like, Mike, what are you talking about? The boy cows. What about there's no boy? The bulls, you mean?
The bulls.
Yeah, well, there's no female, but what? Oh, okay. All right, if that's how it is, that's how it is. Listen, I learn something new every day.
Learn something new every day.
But I just feel like in this new, like, well, in the present internet era, I think everybody can kind of come as an authority to say like, yo, I know about this. Yeah. And you can make it coins, you can do your thing. I don't want to be that person. I just want to be like, hey, I want to talk about this. Yeah. And I just want to talk, like, I might learn here and there, but I just want to talk about it. Like, that's why I don't have any, like, I might have doctors on here every so often. To do, like, I guess what I should have thought about this, but I was like, I don't want to mix the two. But I was like, what if I did, like, see, this is my comedy crazy part. What if I just like had different psychiatrists come up here, and every episode it's just like a session for me, and then after everyone would be like, hey, this guy's good for you. The other one's trash. And this one, like, or just like, how do I feel? It's like dating, but for like a therapist. It's like you just go up. You know what I mean? I mean, which is a great idea, and watch somebody do it and get. But you like.
This could be a series.
I forgot better shit than you ever thought of. When Kanye said that, I was like, oh, that's kind of a bar.
That's a whole heat.
That's a whole heat of a bar. But I was like, oh yeah, Kanye, watch this. I'm gonna just give it out. I'm gonna just tell other people here, hey, you guys, you do it. All I ask is when you do it, you just give me a shout out and make sure I'm not dying. Yeah, just look out for your boy. That's all. That's all. That's all. You just put that in the ethos.
What you did with that post, so I think you held up a mirror. Like people, like there was this one time. Shout out to Rosebud Baker. Me and Rosebud went back and forth on a positive note, nothing crazy.
Okay.
About she made this joke about suicide on her Insta stories, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, damn, how many fucking people just hit her DMs saying what I'm about to say? But I wasn't gonna go that route. I was like, yo, this shit is hella funny, like.
Instead of like, why are you joking about suicide? Like,
I already know people gonna be in her DMs about, oh, hey, are you okay? What's going on? Well, I get it, which is cool. But also, I don't think she did it for that. I think she did it to share a funny meme, and it happens to have a couple of suicide references in it, which is cool. Like, you guys are comedians, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. But I think shit like that is funny when you share certain shit and you get that unanimous reaction. Yeah, I mean, I also know I don't like a. Yo, shout out to Kareem. I gotta get Kareem Green on here, man. I remember bumping into him, and we were like, he was going in for an audition, and I'm leaving. We're at the elevator, and he's like, "Hey, Mike, man, how you doing, man? You good?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You good? You okay? I seen your Facebook post. You need some meds. You all right?" Cracking up. You're talking about, but Kareem, but that's like the homie. You know what I mean? But it's like, but that's also how it is. Like, it's like, yo, are you like? It's like, yo, you good? Like, yo, I got you some meds. But like, it's like, because it is like a funny, like, nigga, you all right? But it's like, you good? Yeah. And it's like, yeah, but. Like, good enough. Like, I'm good enough, man. I'm chilling. Right. But it is like a funny thing, because when you talk about any subject that is too kind of like hot button, either people are just gonna say, "What are you talking about?" or it becomes, "Oh my God," and all these things and sometimes it's like, as a comedian, just like, I just want to put this out into the world. Like, I just want to do this. Like, it's like, don't look at me. I'm going to say this thing. Look at me. Okay. Now that I said it, don't look at me again. Yeah. It's like, just take that. Take that. We're just playing tag with information. Honestly. Oh man, that's the perfect way. You're it. That's the perfect way to describe this shit. I'm telling you, man, I do albums every fucking week. Yo, that's why I don't do too many solo. Now you got to save some. I know. You know how hard it is for me to come up with material? Fuck, man. Oh my God. Fuck. Yo, all you got to do for your album is just listen back to the catalog. That's what I'm going to do. Oh, man. Ugh. Jesus. Man, listen. I swear to God. You guys should come out and see me perform, though. You should see me you should see me when I'm trying to make people laugh. Sometimes I just like, I have jokes, but like, see me when I like know the jokes though. Yeah. Like, I know I'm making jokes. When I catch them, I'm like, oh, there's a good one. And I build that one out into something. Oh my God, niggas ain't ready. I'm here for all of the working out bits. I told Emma this the other day. I'm like, look, listen, I don't give a fuck how polished the bit may or may not be. Yeah. I want to be there to see you work it out. Yeah. Honestly. Man, Emma's like there's something like, Emma's like the homie, and I want to have on the podcast, but it's like, we're gonna get to that too. We'll get to all that. We'll get to all of that, man. We're gonna, you know what, everybody? We're gonna get Angela Yee on the podcast at some point. Yo, that should be. We have to. That's the main goal, is to get her. And it's so accessible because she's literally down the hall sometimes in an office down there. I won't say the name, but okay, don't say. But like, it's such a. It's like, but it's one of those things where it's like, if you were here and she was here, and like, if you like, and it's weird because you're like, text me, like, yo, text me when you're here. I'm gonna come up. I'm like, yo, Angela, let's do the thing. But but it's also one of those things where like, she now, it's weird because like, she now is like Angela Yee, right? And when I used to be like around like that, the Breakfast Club, I don't even think had started yet, because she was just doing lip service at Sirius. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's that far back where it's not like a super real connection, but like, it was always love. It's like, hey, what's up? And she don't owe me that shit, and she also doesn't know how the vibe of this is gonna go. Right. Right. And I think like the some of the episodes, like even the Janice ones listened to, I was like, oh, I was super careful
with everything that I said because like she and I talk shit, and we're kind of like, oh, we're at work, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then when it's just me and you, it's like I'm talking shit.
How fucking important was that Janice episode though? Because it's like, yo, every time I'm hearing her speak and you're in the background, like, yeah, you know, I'm a feminist and all that, but Jesus, I'm like, yo, honestly, this is simple shit. Like, this is simple shit when it comes to doing business with women, and it just kills me how some dudes really just be like, yeah, you know, titties.
Yeah,
Like, what? Like, this is a grown woman.
Yeah, not like, yeah.
Woman.
Like, come on, man. We all see. We all know.
Like,
we don't got to talk about it. What are we
Yeah.
doing? Let's stay focused on the task at hand. Just stay focused.
And and I even fucked up and made this mistake one time. I went to go buy some Vans, the very Vans I have on now, which is these dirty ass checkered ones.
Okay.
I sped. I'm a dickhead for this.
Weird
I sped
flex,
past,
but okay.
Yeah. Oh no, these
I don't
shit's
know if
terrible.
that counts.
But this young lady worked at Van store in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Okay. And I walk right past. I seen the uniform, seen that bright ass red shirt, I think. But walk right past her. I was high as shit, and I just came from a terrible date at the time. So I walked right past her. I went to this tall, goofy looking dude, and I was like, yo, I need to know where your checker pattern Vans at, and I need them in the size 13. So she sees me, sits down, and I'm about to try them on, and she goes, you know, I work here too. And I'm like, oh shit, you do. They go my shoes though. And yeah, ladies, I'm sorry if I ever disrespected y'all.
Oh man. But I mean, see now here's my mind's going. You just came off a date.
Yeah.
Right?
A shitty one.
A shitty date. And you're like, man, I just spent money on this date.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna just retail therapy, I'm gonna get some Vans.
Yeah.
And then as you're going into the place, you just had this date and you're just like, I just want my fucking sneakers. Yeah. And if anybody, like, you're just like, I just want my sneakers. Yeah. And you see the goofy looking dude, and you know that he is just gonna give you a sneaker, and that's all it's gonna be.
The fucked up part is, I seen her as I was walking. I was like, and then I just kept going. So I'm like, damn. Something told me that this shit was gonna play out very awkwardly on my way out. And
and it did.
You're
very awkward. You're seeing it. It's like one of those things where it's like, it's like if you would have said hi or something, then or whatever, she'd be like, hey, do you need anything? And then like, you might have been like, yeah, I want a Vans or whatever, and she could have did it. But when you like in your stride, you don't want to break your stride, because then it's like, am I breaking my stride because this is a woman or because I need help? Just stay on your, just do your thing. I mean, it's not. It would have been See, what she wasn't expecting is you were to explain that whole thing.
Yo.
That's what I do, and that's why I'm a comedian. I'd be like, oh, well, what happened was this. I was trying to.
Man. That would have been golden. I would pay to see you do that, actually.
Oh man,
that would have been golden if I could just turn the tables and be like, hey, here's what happened.
Yeah. It's just like, it's like, if you want to know,
like, just so you know,
just so you know, it's not even that trying to be like I'm awkward as shit. I just look like, we just all look how we look.
Exactly.
We all are fucking whatever, but we're just people out here living life. I'm sorry I didn't go see you.
I'm sorry I didn't stop and ask you out on a date. Sorry. Yeah. I'm a little tapped from the last date, sweetie.
I tell like any female friends, any like new ones now, I'd be like, listen, just get this out of the way. Yeah. You know, think you're cool, also find you attractive, yada yada yada. I don't want to do anything with you. Please don't put me in that. I don't want to be in that situation. Yeah. I'm not trying to I'm just like, and just being honest, like, this is where it's at right now. But also, you have to meet my girlfriend and be friends with her or whatever, because like I would just feel more comfortable for like, if everybody in my life to know everybody in my life. I'm not trying to be a different person to other people. Like, this is just who, you know, what it is. Except we doing business. I'm the most by the book person you ever meet.
There you go.
Have a great poker face.
Yeah, show it off.
Please, let's just do good. But just stay out of my way. Just show me love. I show you love. That's it. It's just it's all love with me. I don't want no problems. And you don't want no problems, big fella.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want no problems. You don't want no problems with me and my God that I always question. You don't want any. You don't want any. You don't want any. Because I don't want it. And actually, I'm just telling you this because I don't want it either.
Legit, almost urinated on myself just now. Bladder's full. I'm looking like, yo, no more. Please, no more laughs. One more laugh and.
My bad, Joe. My bad. All right.